I feel like when you come home from war, I mean, that changes your view on things. I mean, obviously I'm a very spiritual, God-fearing guy.
Yeah.
But I'm also jaded about a lot of other experiences too. You don't go through all those life and death experiences when you're 24 and not come out thinking differently.
Yeah, I would have to think that you said it at least once. How could there be a God after you saw what you saw? Did that question ever broach your mind or the people around you? And how did you reconcile that?
Yeah.
Or haven't you? Maybe you haven't. I don't know.
No, no, listen, these are great questions. Yeah, I ask myself that all the time, then and now, every day. And I guess the way I reconcile it is that, I think about what it means to be an American warrior, right? And what it means to serve in the greatest military force the world has ever known. And those aren't talking points to me.
Right.
What I think makes the U.S. military truly exceptional, Glenn, is that at the core of who we are, we're liberators and protectors. We're not conquerors. And so when you think about that, is if that is what makes us special, then we also have a choice as to whether or not we are good or evil.
Yeah.
And we're given that choice from God through a free will. And
Awesome.
I always looked at us. That's how I reconciled it, though. Like you see how evil the enemy is over there, and you say, there are people in today's society that will excuse that. Well, that's just how they've always been. What you would call cultural moral relativism. No, I don't agree with that. Some things are just evil, and if you're preying on small children, you're evil. And
Sure.
so that's how I reconciled it. Goodness and good versus evil, it's a choice. And I feel like the American military chooses good every single day.
Yeah, wonderful. That's awesome. Thanks. I think that's great. One of the best reconciliations that I talked to was with a nurse who worked, and I actually did a little bit of work in children's hospice, with children with cancer. And she's going, how in the world can there be a God and these kids are suffering with cancer? And then somebody, and I believe it might have been St. Paul, I'm no biblical scholar, but that saying, through death is how we learn how to live. And so, God may put evil to help us understand good, and God puts death in our lives and in front of us to help us understand really how to live better. And I thought, man, that's really a good way to reconcile things, for sure.